Are you an author? How do you sell your books? Are you selling online? Are you, going out and just approaching people on the streets? Are you a part of any type of club? Or are you participating in certain events? Well, I recently, for the first time, decided that I was going to try a new experience, which was being a book vendor at an event, a huge event, actually. It was their 44th annual event. It was a big deal. People were flying in from all over the world for this specific event. And I was actually really fortunate to be given an opportunity to participate free of cost. All right. So this was a different type of situation. I didn't have much time to prepare. So I was just kind of figuring it out, going on YouTube, going on Pinterest, Google, whatever I could do to try and figure out how can I prepare for this book vendor experience in a short amount of time. And I wanted to create this video so that I could share my wisdom, what I've gained from my first experience to help some other people who are planning to do their first event, or maybe they're just kind of getting their feet wet in the book vendor space, or people that are maybe thinking about the possibility of wanting to step out and try this very unique and really exciting experience. So I'm going to give you everything that I did to prepare. Then I'm going to tell you what actually happened. And then I'm going to tell you about the aftermath. So this video is going to be in 3 parts. So first things first, you're going to be a book vendor. Of course, you have to have copies of your book. This is my book here, The Toxic Job Playbook. Boom, boom. Currently available on Amazon.com. And so I make sure to have a box full of books. Now, I decided to do 15 books. Some people might say that's too small. However, this was my first experience, and I am not really like a socialite. Like, I'm not a social butterfly. I'm a very, low-key, reserved introvert, if you will. I'm not the type to be, all in the videos. It's just not my style. So for me, it was a huge leap of faith, and it took a lot of bravery to even agreed to commit to this and to show up. So in my head, I told myself, listen, if I just sell 1 book, I will consider that a success. Just 1. So 15 felt like a good number, enough so that I could have a nice looking display on the table, but not so much that it's going to overwhelm me, feeling like I need to put the pressure on to sell every single book. Like, I just was happy to be there, should I say. And I wanted to have enough to give out, but not so much to where at the end of the day, I'm looking at this huge mountain of books feeling like a failure. Now, this is just my personal take and my opinion, and I'm not trying to push that off on you. I'm just telling you why I did what I did. Also, I had to consider the event. Now, this event was at the Gaylord in DC, Maryland, Virginia area. If you're familiar with the DMV, then I'm sure you've heard of the Gaylord. It is a huge hotel and resort. And so I was thinking to myself, I know parking is going to be way over yonder. The building's going to be way over yonder. There were so many stairs and escalators and things that I had to get through in order to get to the vendor space. You may not be able to see it, I'm sitting down, but I'm like a little person. And so carrying a whole bunch of books, like, I had to make sure I picked a number that I could carry comfortably all around the building. And so 15 was enough that my arms, burned a little bit, but it was nothing unbearable. So 15 books for me, I could carry it myself. Now, if I had a team, or if I had an assistant, somebody rocking with me that was helping me, then bringing a little bit more would have made sense. But for me as a solo person, 15 was the perfect number. So if you're going to be a book vendor, I want you to think about the location, the distance you're going to have to travel with all the items that you're bringing for the event. And for me, it was a long, a long distance. And I couldn't imagine having to carry more books than I had. So, yep, make sure you order a bunch of copies, however many works for your situation. And yeah, There you go. So the obvious, bring your book. Number two, which is also kind of obvious. I mean, I guess depending on your thoughts, but a business card. Some people are saying bye-bye business card. That's a very old school kind of thing. Nobody wants paper anymore. They just want a code that they can, put on their phone and go about their day without having a bunch of cards in their back pocket, in their wallet, in their purse. But for me, honestly, still having a traditional card has gone a long way. You never know where you're going to go, who you're going to meet, and to be able to just say, oh, here's my card, without having to worry about somebody getting their phone out, how much juice they have in their phone, or how tech savvy they are or are not. You can just say, here's my card. And so I had a whole new stack of these. I actually designed this myself. I didn't use a template. I did use Vistaprint, which is like another OG in the business card world, but you can use any type of software to create your own. It's very nice quality. Probably hard to see in this video, but I made sure to have cards because if we're honest, every single person that walks up to you and engages with you is probably not going to buy a book, but if you can give them something to walk away with, then it's also a win, because you never know if they're going to come back around. If one day they're just going to go on your website and then decide to make the buy, maybe they want to fill you out a little bit, see what you got going on your website, maybe tap into your social media before buying. So OG business card was perfect. To go along with the business card, I had this cute business card kind of case. So that helps because the business card is going to be sitting upright on the table. And so it's very easy to grab and easy to see. Honestly, where it was positioned and placed towards the front of the table, you couldn't miss it. So again, business card holder. Voila. Since we're talking about holders, I had a book stand. All right, so my book was sitting upright on the table. It's very important in a vendor event because people are just walking, and they're turning their head left and right. So you want to make sure things are positioned and they're standing up to catch somebody. Having a book stand was very helpful. I actually have a set of 3 and I brought all 3 with me, just in case, I wasn't sure exactly what the space was going to look like. But if I had enough space, I wanted to have, more than one book sitting up to grab someone's eye. So definitely you don't want to have like cards laying on the floor, cards laying on the table, books laying on the table where people can't see them. So there you have it. Got that. And it was great. Moving right along. So how am I going to get paid? Hello, and hello. Boom. I made my own sign, and it's kind of, it's been sitting on my table, but I made my own sign, and it has QR codes for my PayPal, my Cash App. It's very clear what this is for. I have a handout here. I have, the money symbol. So if people are looking to make a payment to me, this sign, all they have to do is pull out their phone and scan the code to do so. You can't see it, but my phone number is actually up here as well. And it says you can utilize that number if you would like to use the Zelle Pay service. I also accepted cash. I wanted to do as much as I can to ensure that I could get the sale and that there wasn't some kind of excuse for people not to purchase. Now, there are other options like having a Square, other types of credit card scanners, which I didn't have the time to invest in at the time. Even the sign, right? I went on to Etsy and I saw very beautiful professionally made signs that I plan to invest in. But for the time that I had, even if I went and ordered one, there was no way that it was going to arrive to me on time. Even if I did the expedited service, it was a very small window between when I was extended the opportunity, when I got the details, and when I, was able to clear and reserve the time to participate. So I went ahead and used my creative, crafty skills. I actually bought this stand. It is a picture frame that I got from the dollar store, the Dollar General. And I just, copied and pasted some images and created my own pay sign. So you can do the same if you don't have the time or maybe the money to go buy the fancy sign. You can just create something on your own. It stood up on the table very nicely. So 3 things that are standing up that you can see so far: my book, how to pay, and my business cards. Very important things, you guys. So next up, what is this? It's a dish, actually. It's like I'm using it as a candy dish on my table. Now, it looks pretty nice, and I did that on purpose. I wanted to get something, I didn't want to just get like a pail, like a plastic bucket, like, trick or treat or something like that. I wanted to get something that looked a little fancier, and I got this from the Dollar General as well. And the video doesn't really do it justice. If you were to walk by, you might think it's glass, but it's actually plastic. And in this dish, I had an assortment of chocolates for the chocolate lovers. I had every and any type of chocolate. I had some of the greats, right? I had the Snickers, I had the Midnight Milky Ways, I had the Twix, the Kit Kats, all of the favorites, the Mr. Good bars. I had the Hershey's, the dark chocolate, the Hershey's and the almonds, you name it, I had it in there for the chocolate lover in you. And so that was something to attract people, as they walk by. Not everybody is a person that likes actual physical books. Some people are more into the audiobook space. So even though they walk by and they see these books propped up, they're probably not going to stop. But having a nice dish full of candy that was like, overflowing out the top, which is why I purposely got a dish that was kind of like, it doesn't have like a high rim to it. It was very easy to see this dish is full of candy and different types of candy. The wrappers were like out and sparkling. So if you're a candy lover, you were like, oh, hold up. And they came over. And the point for them to come over, even if they're not into physical books, was just to have a conversation. Not only am I an author, but I'm a career coach. I'm a speaker. I do other things. I teach online. And so getting them to come over and talk to me, I could then maybe not get them to buy a book, but once again, give out my business card so that they can connect with me and maybe work with me in the future. So maybe your thing isn't candy. Oh, and I also have like mints and other little things, but just have something someone can snack on, maybe, I don't know, some crackers, something that's packaged as well. You don't want anything homemade, but something that is wrapped, that is safe to consume, that people are familiar with, definitely is a head turner and an attention grabber. All right, so moving right along. Next, and I should have mentioned this earlier when I talked about, having my stack of books, but I have a demo copy, y'all. So this is a copy that was just for me, that has my own personal notes and markings. As you can see, I have silver marker at the top that says this is for strictly events, this is for display, this is a demo, so that I don't confuse it and accidentally sell it to someone. I have some pages, the corners of the pages are bent. Pages are marked up because I was standing up doing readings. And so I wanted to know exactly the good places, like the juicy parts of the book or the most interesting parts of the book to open up and read to. All right. So for example, if I open to one of these pages where the corners are bent, and I could say, leaving your job is necessary when your mental health suffers. No ifs, ands, or buts. Don't ignore the sick feeling at night when you lay awake worried about tomorrow and what it will bring once you enter work. Don't ignore the headaches that make it hard for you to concentrate, the loss of appetite, the anxiety, the feelings that spill over and can consume the lives of workers and their families. People may tell you to snap out of it, suck it up, just be glad you even have a job, even if it's breaking you down mentally and physically. So I would read little excerpts, here and there, and people walk by like, oh, it's interesting. Or sometimes I would ask, hey, can I read a little bit to you? I'll just read a paragraph to you. So yeah, I recommend just having a book that's just for you, that you have your own markings on and notes on so that you can just be on top of it. You know exactly what page to go to, the page that's the bio, the page that's the this, the that, the dedication, like whatever it is that you think is really gonna pull on people's heartstrings or kind of get them into what you have going on. So have a demo copy. All right, y'all, moving right along to this next thing. So I did have two things that laid flat on the table. Now, I was showing a bunch of things that were upright to catch the attention of others, but I did go ahead and create some flyers. Now, I made these on Canva. There's a picture of me holding my book as well as my mugs because I have a product line, the Winifred Summer Collection. So I have those in there. I also have like my message, my focus, my history, things about myself that maybe I'm not going to be able to say over and over and over and over again to every single person that walks by. So to have it on a nice little sheet, nice little handout that somebody can kind of read really quickly. Maybe I'm talking to one person and somebody else walks up. I'm definitely going to acknowledge that person, but I got to finish up what I'm doing over here. And so as they're waiting, they can look at this flyer and read a little bit more about me, and they can take it with them. They can pass it along. It has my website on there, and my website honestly has everything that they could possibly need. So it hits a lot of bullet points about who I am and what I do. So this was laying flat on the table. So maybe somebody comes up and I'm in the middle of this, they can just kind of like take a pool and just say, oh, okay, da 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 da. And, you know, they can learn about me before I even open my mouth. The other thing that was laying flat is a clipboard, right? So this is a sign-in sheet for my email list. And so it has where you put your name. It also has your email. And it says at the top, sign up for my email list this summertime. So again, if I am speaking, if I'm doing something else, they can go ahead and see what this is for. It has very specific instructions. I wanted people to feel comfortable. I said name. I didn't say first name, last name, but everybody put their first name, last name, and then they put their email. And so they knew what they were doing when they put their name on here. They know it's for an email list. And I made sure to tell them like, hey, emails, they come out once a month. They're about me and what's going on in my life as I am, you know, an HR professional that is also an entrepreneur. And they also have workforce tips and things like that. So have a sign-up list, y'all. Ways to keep in contact. Some of the people that signed up on the list did not take a business card, right? Some of the people that signed up on the list did not purchase a book. They did not take a flyer. So this is just another way to be in communication with people. It's a nice setup, you know, having the clipboard if they wanted to pick it up, you know, or if they're writing, I don't know, it helps with sturdiness and it just looks good, right? It's a real clipboard. Another buy from Dollar General. Shout out to Dollar General. All right, y'all. So we are coming towards the end. I got just a few more things to tell you about what I got from my very first vendor experience. Props, right? Vendor events, you're surrounded by people selling things. Some people are pros, right? I was next to people, this was their 100th, you know, time doing an event. They got it down to a science. They have the biggest banners, pop-up banners and signs. And these are all things that I plan to invest in. But, you know, this was my very first experience. I had a limited time to prepare. And so something that I thought that would be cool, have these sitting on the table. My whole thing is that I'm an HR person and my book is about the workforce. And that's what makes me, you know, be a great voice for the topics that I discuss, is just because this is what I do. I am an HR person. And so I had these sitting on the table. You could not miss them even if you tried. And so these really got people's heads to turn and come over and speak to me just out the gate. And how I started with every single person. Hi, my name is Winifred Summer and I'm an HR professional. I said that before. I said I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a this, I'm a that. The very first thing, I'm an HR professional, because I wanted people to know why, you know, my voice, not to say anybody, you know, other people's voices are important, but there's something different about me. And I have some background and expertise that comes along with the things that I say that can be very beneficial if you are in the workforce, you know, to pay attention to what it is I have to say. So these letters right here, boom, 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 they were sitting up on my table. And so You have the letters, how to pay, you have the book, you have the business cards, and you have the candy just jumping out at you from my table. So these were a hit. Other people that worked in HR stopped by and kind of gave me the salute. They're like, I'm in HR too, I'm in HR. So, you know, that was nice. All right. So the very last thing that I'm going to talk about is this. So I have a gold Sharpie marker. And this was kind of my thing to sign if somebody purchased the book right then and there. I would ask them for their name and I'd write a little message and I would use this gold marker. It really stood out very nicely because I signed the cover, which has majority black. So the gold on top of black is just something that's like, pow, in your face. Your book is signed. Most people will sign, you know, in the cover, open it up on the first page or something like that. And I did have a person that after I signed on the top, they said, oh, can you sign the inside too? And I did that. But this was just kind of like my whole little trademark thing. Like I have a gold, I have a silver, as you saw with my demo book. You know, I have these very bright metallic kind of colors that go well on black. And that's how I sign my books. I kind of made it my thing. So I had this to make sure that every person that bought a book, not only am I saying thank you and asking to keep in touch, but I'm giving them a special little, you know, set of gold words from me to them personally. All right, y'all. Well, I hope you gained some insight and some wisdom from this video. And if you're going to have your first book vendor experience, these things worked for me. Now, there are plenty of other things that you can get. And if you have the time and if you have the money to invest in those things, I strongly recommend it. The next book vendor event that I do plan to have a bit more because when I got there, there were some challenges. There were some things that I didn't really prepare for or know about until I got there. So if you enjoyed this video, I strongly encourage you, one, to subscribe to my channel, as well as look out for the part 2. We're actually going to have clips, photos showing what all actually went down. So this video is how I prepared, the things that I brought, and I can tell you now, you know, spoiler alert, they worked for me and they worked for me very well. But I do want to give you like live, you know, on the ground, the meat and potatoes of what actually happened. And then after that, I want to tell you about the aftermath after the event. So again, I thank you. If I said it already, thank you, and thank you. If you got this far into the video, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. Again, Winifred Summer, HR professional, author, career coach, speaker, and so much more. And I am your HR darling, your darling HR professional that you can feel comfortable coming to talk about the workplace. My message is not money, 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 titles, titles, titles. My message is fulfillment and healthy work environments for all. That being said, I'm out of here and I'll see y'all later.